What's a book of centuries? I'm going to show you how to get started using one and which one I use for my homeschool. A book of centuries is a chronological list of historical events kept in a notebook. This means that your kids create a physical timeline of events that they learn from their history curriculum. I've even heard of families creating a book of centuries, but not in a book, but on posters in their house so that it can be easily referred to by anyone in the house. Using a book of centuries is a staple of the Charlotte Mason homeschool method, and it is recommended that kids start filling out their own book of centuries starting at 10 years old. But you don't have to wait until then to start one. For your younger kids, you can create a family book of centuries that you do together until they can create one of their own. And that's what we're doing in our homeschool. The two books that we're using for history are The Story of the World and Our Island Story. And whenever something big and momentous happens, we go and we fill it in our family book of centuries. This usually just consists of us as a family opening up our book of centuries, finding the year that the event happened, filling it in, and calling it a day. But you can also make this a little more fun and dynamic by having kids draw depictions of what they learned about and putting that in your book of centuries as well. There are all sorts of books of centuries on the market, and they're all formatted differently, and some families even choose to create their own from scratch. I'm not tech savvy or organized enough to do that, so I actually purchased mine from our friends at Living Book Press. They have this version and another one available on their website, so I will link to both in the description. If you're making your own, you can format the pages on your computer, you can print them out, and then keep them in a 3-ring binder. Remember to start with prehistory, and BC years count down, and AD years count up. I will link to some more resources below if you're looking to create your own book of centuries for your family. Right now, I'm really feeling like history is the most important and also the most enjoyable subject to teach. And honestly, using a book of centuries and incorporating it into my homeschool has made the process of teaching history more easy instead of making it more complicated. My kids have really been enjoying the whole process of us entering different events in there and then flipping through and seeing how these events are related to each other, whether it's by how far apart the two events took place or how close two very different events took place. This has made teaching history a really immersive activity as opposed to a passive, detached one. And please, don't be afraid to make your book of centuries fun. You do not have to restrict your entries to your book of centuries to just what you're learning in your history curriculum. We fill in all sorts of things in ours, whether it's family members' birthdays or local historical events. It has become a really cool family document that we can keep and cherish forever. Do you have any experience with using a book of centuries in your homeschool? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos just like this one. See you next time!